1882, New Mexico Territory. The trading post buzzed with dust and late afternoon heat as ranchers bartered for flour, tools, and bolts of fabric. Thomas Callahan stood behind the long wooden counter, arms crossed, watching his two daughters examine trinkets laid out before them with serious concentration. "Pick anything you want," he said warmly. "You've both worked hard this season." 8-year-old Lily and her younger sister May exchanged a glance. Since their mother had passed 2 winters ago, Thomas had tried to soften life's sharp edges with small kindnesses, but gifts could not replace the quiet absence that followed them home every night. The trading post door creaked open. A young Apache woman stepped inside, carrying woven baskets balanced carefully against her hip. Conversations dipped slightly, curious eyes following her. She walked with steady composure, dark braid resting over her shoulder, gaze calm but alert. Thomas recognized her. Her name was Nahimana. She traded baskets and herbs occasionally, speaking little but observing much. Lily tugged at her father's sleeve. "Papa," she whispered. Thomas followed her stare. Nahimana approached the counter, placing the baskets down with gentle precision. The patterns were intricate, dyed in desert reds and golds. Thomas admired the craftsmanship. "These are fine," he said respectfully. "Best I've seen this year." She inclined her head slightly. "Thank you." While Thomas inspected the baskets, Lily and May slipped closer. They watched Nahimana's careful hands, the way she smoothed each woven edge, the quiet strength in her posture. May, bold despite her small size, looked up at her father. "Papa, you said we could pick anything." "That's right," Thomas replied distractedly. The girls turned back toward him together. "We want that Apache woman as our mom." The room fell silent. Thomas nearly dropped the basket in his hands. Several ranchers froze mid-conversation. Nahimana's eyes widened slightly, though her expression remained composed. "Girls," Thomas said softly, kneeling to their height. "You can't just choose a person like a ribbon or a toy." Lily's voice trembled but remained certain. "She looks kind, she's strong, and she doesn't look scared of anything." Nahimana watched this exchange carefully, understanding enough English to follow the meaning. A faint warmth touched her guarded gaze. Thomas rose slowly, clearing his throat. "My daughters speak from the heart," he said awkwardly to Nahimana. "Please forgive them." She studied the 2 girls standing so close to her skirts. "They have brave hearts," she said quietly. Thomas felt something shift inside him. Since his wife's passing, he had avoided the idea of remarriage. Not from lack of need, but from fear. Fear of replacing memories. Fear of choosing poorly. Fear of failing his daughters. But children sometimes saw truth where adults hesitated. Over the next weeks, Lily and May found reasons to visit the trading post whenever Nahimana came to trade. They asked questions about her baskets, about the desert plants she gathered. She answered patiently, her voice low and steady. Thomas watched from a respectful distance. One afternoon, a sudden storm rolled across the plains, fierce and unforgiving. Nahimana's horse spooked outside the post, nearly breaking free. Without hesitation, Lily ran toward it. Thomas's heart leapt. Before he could reach her, Nahimana moved swiftly, calming the animal with practiced ease. She placed herself between Lily and danger, steady hands guiding the horse's reins. When the storm passed, Lily clung to Nahimana's side. "She saved me," Lily declared proudly. Thomas met Nahimana's eyes. Gratitude replaced embarrassment. "Would you allow us to repay your kindness with supper?" he asked carefully. She considered the invitation, aware of the boundaries between their worlds. Yet she had seen the loneliness in the girl's eyes. She had seen the weariness in Thomas's. "I will come," she said simply. That evening, Nahimana entered their modest ranch house carrying a small bundle of desert herbs. She added them to the stew simmering over the fire, explaining each plant's purpose. The house filled with unfamiliar but comforting aromas. May listened wide-eyed to stories of canyon spirits and ancient rivers. Lily showed Nahimana her mother's old recipe book, pages worn from use. Thomas watched as laughter returned to rooms long silent. Weeks turned into months. Nahimana did not replace their mother's memory. She honored it. She listened when the girls spoke of her. She helped braid their hair before church and taught them to track animal prints behind the barn. The town murmured, some with approval, others with suspicion. Thomas knew the risks. Marrying across cultural lines invited judgment, but he also saw his daughters blooming beneath Nahimana's gentle strength. One evening, beneath a sky blazing with stars, Thomas stood beside Nahimana near the corral fence. "My daughters chose with their hearts," he said quietly, "but I must choose with mine." She looked at him steadily. "And what does your heart say?" "That this house feels like home again when you are in it." Silence settled between them, not heavy but thoughtful. "My people have known loss," she said softly. "Joining your life would mean walking between two worlds." Thomas nodded, then we walked together. He did not kneel in grand gesture, he simply held out his hand. She placed hers in it. When Thomas told the girls, their joy echoed across the ranch like birds taking flight. Lily hugged Nahimana fiercely. May declared she would help plan the wedding feast herself. The ceremony was simple, held beneath open sky. A few settlers attended. So did members of Nahimana's tribe. It was not a merging without tension, but it was a beginning. In the seasons that followed, the ranch grew stronger. Nahimana's knowledge of land and weather improved crops. Thomas's steady fairness earned cautious respect among neighboring tribes. Most importantly, Lily and May flourished. They no longer asked for trinkets at the trading post. They had what they truly wanted. Years later, when travelers passed through the territory and asked about the unusual family running the Callahan Ranch, they were told a simple story. A father once said, "Pick anything you want." His daughters chose not a possession but a person, and in doing so they chose love. In the vast American frontier, where survival demanded resilience and courage, it was two little girls who saw most clearly. They saw not difference, not rumor, not fear. They saw the woman who would stand beside them through storms. And sometimes the bravest choices begin with a child's honest heart.